This time, instead of showing you how to create your own animation for the text graphics you lay out using keyframes, I'm going to show you how to use some presets. So as you can see, I've created a new graphic. This is the next one in my storyboard. Down here on the timeline, you can see it's got, remember, it goes from bottom to top as far as where they're at. I'm going to go cache for college, select all three. And right now I'm going to go ahead and adjust the start point. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it in right to where my last graphic ended, which I can see here on the timeline. And then I'll go down here and drag these ends, and I'm going to go a little bit past that marker I created with my soundtrack. So I'm going to leave myself a little bit of room for the out point at this point. And right now you can see as I play it back from the beginning, I've got my need money for college, and right now it's playing back a little bit slow because of the strain that I'm putting on my system using my capture software. And then here's the cache for college, and it just sits there and does nothing. So let me go ahead and stop it, and I'll go ahead and with these all pre-selected, I'm going to show you a little bit different way to work. So I'm going to go up here to the workspace. Last time I had you use the text layout. This time we're going to go switch back to standard. It's going to rearrange the panels, and over here on the right you'll see a new panel pop out, which is called Effects and Presets. Now I can still get to the character preset by going here. I'm going to go to Effects and Presets, and from this list, there's a long list, I'm going to go ahead and choose Animation Presets and scroll down to Text and click on that triangle, and I'm going to have it animate in. So I'm going to start the words at the beginning. I've got in my timeline, I'm right to the beginning of where this text is going to come in. So I'll choose the animate in. I've already gone through the different presets. You can experiment with them. I'm going to choose this one called decoder fade in. So I just double click on it with everything selected, and notice how it all disappears. The reason for that is because this particular one, as I scroll through it, you'll see that they all kind of fade in and go out. But notice that they all kind of disappear much too late for me. So here's how I'm going to be able to adjust that. Down here in the timeline, with all three of these selected, and I'll just make sure that all three are selected by clicking on one, holding down Shift, clicking on the top one. And I'll press the letter U on my keyboard, and this will display the keyframes that were just added. So you can see the start keyframe is right at the beginning, but the end keyframes are way out here. So I'm going to select each of these by clicking on the first one, holding down Shift, and then clicking on each of the others. So I have all three selected. Let go of Shift, and then click on one of these and just drag it over, so now I'll have a much faster movement on it. And so as I go through here, you can see it goes much faster for coming through. Okay, but I'm going to stagger these, so instead of them all coming in at once, I'm going to go ahead and have each of these start a little bit differently. So I'll go down here and select my second one, 4. Click the first keyframe and then the second keyframe for that, again by holding down Shift. Slide it over. Click away from it to the next keyframe. Hold down Shift to select the second one. Drag it over and let go of it. And now when I play it, you can see that it's got all of this coming in. Now if I want to check it on my audio, I think I'll wait and do that once I get the last one out. It's playing back a little bit slower. Hopefully when I go to the RAM preview, it's going to run a little bit faster. So let me get to the end of this. And I'm going to start right here just about at the end where I know I've got that gap in the audio because of my marker that was here. And I'm going to go now, instead of animate in, I'm going to go ahead and choose animate out. And again, I've gone through the different presets. I've decided encoder out is the one I want. So I'm going to make sure I select all three of these. So I've got cache for college selected. And now I can choose encoder out, double click on it. And again, you can see it sort of added these marks here, but I can't really do anything with them until I go down here in the timeline, press the letter U. Let's see, let me just click away first of all. Click away, select all three of these again, and then press the letter U. And U one more time. Now it displays them as keyframes. So you can see that's where I start, but again, the out is way out here where it shouldn't be. So I'm going to click on the first one, hold down Shift, click on each of the others, scroll down a little bit here so I can see it. And now move them into where I want them to be. So I'm going to bring it in maybe right about here. And now that I've got them all set there, let's see if I can do a RAM preview so you can actually hear what this is going to sound like. Here I go. Control 0.
Do you need money for college? Come to the Cash for College workshop and apply for grants and loans. You could win a $1,000 grant.
Okay, so there you can see I've used the presets and created something that makes it much better for coming together, makes it much faster actually than doing all the individual keyframes myself. I did want you to see those keyframes so you can see how you can manipulate the text. But in this one you can play with the presets, and by adjusting those preset keyframes you can really get a lot of control. Now when you're done looking at those presets, just press the letter U again so you can collapse everything. Again, just deselect as you're ready to go on and build the rest of your graphics. Or if you built all your graphics first, you can go ahead through and play with the animation. I've gone ahead and created my next graphic from my storyboard, and I'm going to add an actual image that I needed. So I'm going to go up here to the File menu, choose Import File. In my folder, you can see I've got this $1,000 graphic created in Photoshop, so I'll open it up. I've got multiple layers in there, but I'm going to go ahead and merge the layers, so I'll click OK. And now you can see I've got this graphic over here. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag it into my composition, make it the top layer. And now it shows up. Now it's a little bit too big, so I'm going to go do the same thing. I'll just click on a corner, start to drag it, hold down Shift to make sure the shape stays the same, and bring it within my safe title area. So there's my graphic. Now I don't just want it to appear right there. I'm going to actually start it. I'm going to start it right here where my timeline indicator is here on the timeline, and I'll bring it so the end ends right where everything else is here at the end. But I don't just want it to pop on, so let's see what I can do here. Now if you only have a single image, you could just have it pop on and do some other effect. So right now you can see it just all comes up at once. So you can do the same manipulations you can as far as animations and such with your single image. You can do the transformations, you can do keyframes, but I'm going to show you a little bit more advanced thing you can do if you have multiple layers. So with this selected in the timeline, I'm going to hold down Control and choose Convert to Layered Comp. Now if you notice up here in my compositions, I have a brand new composition. I also have a new Photoshop copy of it, which includes all the layers. Right here it shows all 10 layers that I had, and up here's my new composition. So I'm going to double click this composition, and now I have a second composition open down here on the timeline. So what I'm going to do is first of all change the duration. So I'll just select all of these, and I'll go down here to where it's I turn on my timeline here, and I'll double click the duration, and I just want it to last, let's go with 4 seconds right now. So we'll go 4 seconds. Okay, so now I'm going to change where each of them start. I'm going to delay it so that this bottom one here comes in first, and each of the other ones is delayed by 2 frames. So the first one starts at 0. I can keep that the same. This one's going to actually start at 2 frames. So I'll put a 0, 2. This one will start at 0, 4, and I'll just work my way up. 6, and 8, and 10, and 12, and 14, and 16, and 18 frames. So when I'm done and I play it back, we'll see that it pops in, and they just kind of stack on each other like this. So let me just take a look at how that is. I'll save this project right now. I'll go back to my original comp, so I just click on the other comp here, and now instead of having these $1,000 in here, I want to delete that. That's just the original image, so I'll just select it and delete it. Go up here to my $1,000 composition, drag it down, place it right at the top of my timeline because it's going to be on top of everything. Now I'm going to shorten the end of it and bring it down pretty short, and then click and drag it so it will start where I want it to start, which is approximately here. And now as I drag through it, you can see it stack up. And so let me play it through. And I'll press the RAM preview.
Do you need money for college? Come to the Cash for College workshop and apply for grants and loans. You could win a $1,000 grant, but you can't win if you don't attend. Visit the Career Center today for details.
Okay, so there you see how to add a graphic. And not only adding a graphic, but you can also animate it by making it a separate composition and then using the different layers in it and bringing it in. So I'm going to jump ahead and show you how my finished PSA looks here in the timeline after I've used the different tools I've shown you of individual keyframes for elements, either text or graphics, going ahead and using some of the presets, or going ahead and creating a separate composition using layers from a graphic you brought in that has multiple layers. I've completed building all the graphics for my PSA, including moving that $1,000 graphic I had down towards the end. I've kind of rearranged a few things. I'll show it to you here in a moment. There's just one other thing that you might want to do. You might want to change your background. You can do that by either going up to the composition menu, go to composition settings, and you could change the color here. Maybe you want to go with red or something else like that. As you can see with the color scheme I've used, the black background works best, so I'll just hit cancel and cancel. Now if you want to animate the background, you can also do that by creating a shape. So I'll go up here to this rectangle tool and just go ahead and drag a rectangle to cover over my background. Now I want to make sure that I take that entire shape layer. I've gone ahead and locked my other layers just to make sure. I got to make sure I move that all the way to the bottom, so I'll just click and drag it all the way to the bottom of my layers. Let's see. And there it is. So it's in the background now, but you can see that again that color is something that would kind of be weird for me. But at least I can change it, and then if I wanted to, I could do keyframes in it and change the background color and manipulate different things too. So if you want to change your background, that's one way to do it, or maybe you have a graphic that's going to be in your background, you could place it there too. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that shape layer. And I've got everything, so I'm just going to check it again one more time before I save it. Control 0 for RAM preview.
Do you need money for college? Come to the Cash for College workshop and apply for grants and loans. You could win a $1,000 grant, but you can't win if you don't attend. Visit the Career Center today for details about Cash for College and how you could win $1,000. Do you need money for college?
Okay, so I'll stop it. So now that I like what I did, I'll go to the File menu and choose Export, and it's called Add to the Render Queue. So the render queue is where you can actually export. So I'll move down here. As I can see down here, I've got my comp, which was just comp 1. Now the one thing you want to do is you want to double check things. So I'm going to go ahead and check the render settings first by clicking on Best Settings. And when I look at this, I want to make sure that it says the size is 720 by 480 and 30 frames per second. You can see that it's 15 seconds long. So click OK. That looks good. Output module. You can see the choices there. We have lossless. We're going to go with QuickTime. And so these things should be good. Oh, you want to make sure though that here you have audio output checked. Otherwise you won't hear the sound. So make sure you have audio. I can always change it down to mono because it's not going to be in stereo. And click OK. So if you don't have audio, click there, you'll be in trouble. Make sure you choose where you're going to output it to. And in this case, I'm going to be in my PSA folder, and I'm going to call it PSA, and mine's called Cash, and of course my name. It's going to be a QuickTime movie. I'll uncheck Hide the Extension, so I'll know that it's the movie version, not one of the other files, and click Save. Now that all the settings are right, I'll just click the Render button. And when it's all done, we'll be able to take a look at it. When your render is complete, go ahead and navigate to your PSA project folder. You should find the movie in there. Here's mine right here. I'll just press the space bar.
Do you need money for college? Come to the Cash for College workshop and apply for grants and loans. You could win a $1,000 grant, but you can't win if you don't attend. Visit the Career Center today for details about Cash for College and how you could win $1,000.
And when you're happy with it, send your entire PSA project folder to the teacher's computer.